People like Dennis Prager are part of the solution to help us to get this country back on track. So it is my extreme pleasure to introduce Dennis Prager.
Jerry, thank you very, very much. It's a particular honor to have a colleague and a peer say such kind things about you. I have tremendous admiration for your group. Whenever I hear Americanism in any event, I know that people understand that America is not a geographic entity. With no insult intended to any other country, I'm a world traveler. I love the world. I've been to 93 countries. I'm going in a week to Zambia and Botswana and Zimbabwe to give mosquito nets out to orphan kids there. I have a deep commitment to a sense of the world. But this country is unique. Americanism exists. Belgiumism doesn't. Germanism doesn't. Zimbabweism doesn't. This is unique. It's an idea. It's, in my opinion, the greatest value system ever devised. My next book makes that case, and its applicability in every society. So you touch the deepest core of my beliefs. I've been asked to speak on American exceptionalism. Is it a myth or reality? And it is indeed a reality to those who believe it. If you deny it, then clearly it doesn't exist. God exists for those of us who believe in God. For those who don't believe in God, whether God exists or not is irrelevant to them. We are exceptional. There is an American exceptionalism, but if you truly deny it, then it can be undone. That's what Jerry pointed out. We are in danger of losing the soul of this country, and it revolves around the question of, is this country exceptional? Yes, it is. It was designed to be exceptional. To remove exceptionalism from America is to remove the batteries from a battery-operated machine. It can no longer work. That is the battery of the United States of America. It's exceptionalism. You are honoring Abraham Lincoln tonight. He said in his second annual address to Congress those famous words, "We shall nobly save or meanly lose the last best hope of earth." I don't believe, and again, it is no knock at all on any other country. Every country has beautiful people in it. That's a given. And they all have ugly people in it. That's also a given. But I fully appreciate the former fact. Nevertheless, nobody else says, to the best of my knowledge, Sweden is the last best hope of earth. Uruguay is the last best hope of earth. Tibet is the last best hope of earth. People don't say that in different countries. And they're not expected to. And if a prime minister of Sweden got up and said that, Swedes would look at him as if he needed psychiatric counseling. It would not make sense any more than if he said at the end, "God bless Sweden," at the end of an address. This is a unique society. We are losing our understanding of how unique it is. So I want to make the case tonight about and for American exceptionalism, that it has always existed. It existed before we were founded. The famous address of John Winthrop to the Puritan colonists of Massachusetts Bay. For we must consider that we shall be as a city upon a hill. The eyes of all people are upon us. Yes, the eyes of all people are upon us. Again, no other country said this. There was one other group that said this, the Jews. And indeed, the founders of America said this is the second chosen people. This was a country founded on the belief that it was emulating the chosenness of the Hebrews to be a second chosen people. No other country ever had this belief. You can dismiss it, of course, as arrogance, as foolishness, as chauvinistic, and indeed, there are many, many people, those who teach your children at college, unless it's Pepperdine, Charles Reynolds. At most colleges, your child will be taught, as I was taught at Columbia University, that that's nonsense. This is chauvinist, nationalist nonsense, American exceptionalism. But it's not nonsense. It is the greatest belief that has animated a country in the history of countries. We have it in every sphere. I'll begin with foreign policy. Let me read to you from John F. Kennedy's inaugural address. In the long history of the world, only a few generations have been granted the role of defending freedom in its hour of maximum danger. I do not shrink from this responsibility. I welcome it. I do not believe that any of us would exchange places with any other people or any other generation. The energy, the faith, the devotion which we bring to this endeavor will light our country and all who serve it, and the glow from that fire can truly light the world. There is no other inaugural address of another country's president or prime minister that says our duty is to bring liberty to the world. Indeed, by the way, I'd like you to do an interesting experiment. I'd like you to give this part of the Kennedy inaugural address from 1961. I'd like you to give it to any college senior, junior that you know, and say, this was given by an American president. Was this president Republican or Democrat? And I will bet you that 90% will say it was given by a Republican. That is how dramatically the Democratic Party has changed in my lifetime. I am not here to politicize this event, but that is as descriptive a reality as one can address. The notion that we Americans are here to spread liberty on earth shifted parties. It became a conservative and Republican idea. It was always a conservative idea, though not all conservatives held it. But this notion that we have a moral obligation to the rest of humanity, that we were blessed by God or by nature or by luck or by the founders, and we have to share this with others and spread it to others, no other group has had it. Now, how is this dismissed? This is incontrovertible. So how do those who dismiss this react? They say, well, our fighting abroad was not for liberty, it was for resources, for economic imperialism. So I then ask them, as an example, those who say this, and I've had guests on my show like Howard Zinn, a famous, or if you will, infamous author of a People's History of the United States, which is what I call a proctologist's history of America. And if I asked him, I said, how do you explain the Korean War? I always ask about the Korean War, because folks, with all respect to Korea, they don't have anything. In terms of natural resources, unless you feel that one should fight a fight for kimchi, which is garlic cabbage, a unique dish that I still taste 30 years after visiting Seoul. Unless you believe that that's why we went into Korea, why did we go? Why did we lose, 30,000 troops or so? Why did we go into Korea? What did we have to gain? Rubber? Oil? What? Most Americans who fought there could not identify the country on a map. They only knew one thing. These people are fighting for liberty against the monstrous Mao Zedong-inspired North Korean Communist Party. We will die, if we have to bring liberty to that God-forsaken place. That's why there was a Korean War. That's why this country fought. That is why this country fought in Vietnam. What was the economic benefit of having South Vietnam as a place of liberty? It's very angering to me when American idealism and all the death and maiming that took place for this idealism is dismissed as Iraq for oil. We could have gotten the oil like the Russians got the oil and the Chinese got the oil and the Germans got the oil for Saddam Hussein. We didn't have to invade, and we've invaded and gotten no oil from them anyway. This materialist deconstruction of American idealism to render all of those deaths of mostly American boys meaningless, indeed an imperialist venture, is truly reprehensible. It's morally reprehensible.